Lenovo AMD laptop. I'm recording this using an HDMI to composite video, you know, the yellow video cable adapter. Alright, gosh darn it, I'm pretty sure I chose 124. Okay, never mind. We'll do another test. I'm pretty sure I chose 124 by 6768. Maybe I don't need to reset the game to get those changes in effect. Let me make sure all the graphics are turned down. Subtitles are on, yeah, whatever. That's just a demo anyway. I'll be commenting on the FPS as I go, but just for the record, it's about 22 to 24 right now. FOV. I love FOV sliders, kids. Here we're going, I think 50, just for that. Why not? Okay, all the graphics. Preset, low. Actually, I kind of want off. Here we go, look at that. We're going down to 50, woo! Change this value, yeah, we're going as low as we possibly can. This should be fun. Texture, low. Shadow, off. We're turning off the shadows, turning off the volumetric lighting quality. Off. Anti-aliasing, off. Everything off. Chroma shift. How do we turn that off? Lens flare intensity, yeah, sorry J.J. Abrams. That's going off. Okay, so that's about as low as it's going to get, kids. Alright. Frame rate's still in the 20s. Yeah, I don't care about the gameplay so far. We'll get to the gameplay. Like I said, I'm just messing around. Restart required, huh? Okay. So exit that. So I'll cut all this crap out, then restart the game. Okay, so I'm still going to have this part of my video for the audio cues. But, eventually, and I can cut all this other crap out. So I don't waste everyone's time. Yep, 1024 by 768 according to my adapter here. Again, it's not going to look great because ultimately it's being downsampled. It ultimately is being converted to a video signal, which isn't that strong anyway. And that's being recorded on a DVD. So even though this is the highest bit rate that my DVD recorder allows. It's what is it? 4 gigabytes a second. Not great. So, like I said, we just want to see what the frame rate is. Because, again, capturing this game with OBS is going to be impossible. Well, it's not impossible, but the dip I would take in performance would just be off the charts. So I just want to see how the game performs with these settings. Everything's on low, as I mentioned earlier. Yep, everything's down and off. Like I said, I just wish there were like a button, like an auto, like a custom setting, an auto setting that just said nothing. Like I want to play a wireframe game. I want to play Tron. I want to play Baseball 2000. I want flat shaded, Star Wars arcade graphics. I want vector graphics. You know what I mean? Like just give me like a black. Just give me like a black screen and some enemies. Like in Assassin's Creed, which is like a white screen and some enemies. I'll be commenting on the FPS because it'll be hard to see in the top left-hand corner of the screen, I suppose. Holy crap, this game is ugly. As intended. I just want to see if it'll run on my laptop. I seem to recall this game getting a halfway decent frame rate when I first tried it out, like in the 20s. Maybe not. But the fact that I was even able to run this thing at all was some kind of a miracle. But now I'm getting a frame rate in the teens, and that's not great. It's not what I wanted. But let's be honest, this is probably all I was going to get. This was not going to go well. I mean, I know it wasn't going to go well. I mean, this isn't the kind of game where that's possible on a laptop. But like I said, I mean, was I expecting to run a AAA game on a laptop with these specs? Absolutely not. This thing barely runs, Batman Arkham City with 30 frames a second. There we go, hit the wrong button. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to play in the teens. It was just a test. That's the demo, and the great thing about demos is that you can, they're basically spec tests for your computer, for your system. So yeah, I know my laptop can't run Doom. I mean, don't be absurd. Well, I don't even think it doesn't even load when I try to run Doom 2016. Just does not load. All right, which reminds me, I actually do have Dark Souls on the Xbox 360, so I'll be able to get around to that. Probably tomorrow. Now that I think about it, I still have a few other tests I want to do with this adapter, because I got an adapter, like I said, it can record HDMI by converting it to a yellow video signal that I can use in my DVD recorder. So as a compromise, I will take my PSP and have a little bit of fun with it, see what I can do. Because I tried to record some PSP crap on by directly capturing it to the computer, and the software is just awful. I mean, it's just really awful. I mean, basically it skips too many frames. It's impossible for me to gather the footage together into something that's real time. So the only way I can record PSP stuff is to sort of piecemeal it. Getting together a bunch of footage and commenting about it after the fact. Now, what is that? Every attack and action consumes stamina. Okay, whatever. I just wanted to see how well this game would run, which is not very well, to be honest. But I got to get into some fighting. Yeah, there's A to dodge. Okay, that uses stamina, though. How about a regular attack? Yep, uses stamina. Yeah. Dark Tech Souls. Well, like I said, I can play the real thing. On a console, so it's only 30 FPS, boo, but you know. I'll live. Heck, I got Demon Souls in the PS3. I need to pull that out eventually. What kind of game would I play with this kind of frame rate and these? Like, would I play a game that looked like this? Well, if it were good. Like, I guess I would play Fallout New Vegas with these specs, but I actually played Fallout New Vegas. Whoops, I'm dead. Because this is the Surge. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I played Fallout New Vegas on all low settings, like a VGA resolution, I think, all the settings turned down. Pretty sure I got about, I want to say I got about 25 to 30 FPS. Maybe it was 20, But the idea is that, come on, it's Fallout. I don't care if the frame rate's really low. It's Fallout. In the case of maybe Fallout 4, maybe that wouldn't be acceptable. Press R to target. Oh, right trigger. So RB for horizontal, right trigger for vertical. So I'm assuming there's a difference. Maybe some enemies can be sliced in particular ways based on how you swing. That's kind of cute. Yeah, second. So I guess I have to wait for them to attack and then dodge. Which uses stamina, but the idea is you don't want to die, because, you know, they'll take it out of you. Yeah, so yeah, frame rate's around 15. So I don't think it ever got above 20 at any point during wandering around. So this game's a lost cause in this laptop, but as soon as I get my my new video card set up, in fact, what I'll do is I'll probably end up copying this demo to my dual-core desktop. It's the desktop that I used to play Rocket League and Awesome Knots and games that just aren't very demanding. Like 360 era games, you know, PS 360 era console games, and then of course, Rocket League plays extremely well on this rig. Heck, I was playing Shadow of Mordor on that rig. In fact, I'll probably see if I can get some footage of that for you, because the benchmarks are pretty good. And that'll be my excuse to kind of show off my existing specs for that dual core before I add my 1030, because I got an NVIDIA 1030 at a really good discount on that, apparently. And that card is supposed to be the equivalent of an NVIDIA 750 Ti, without getting too complicated. That is the perfect card for people who want to make, who have really small PCs that don't have a lot of space inside. The 750 Ti was made for those kind of computers. So if you want to play games like PS3 era games and Xbox 360 games in a small case, the 750 Ti was the card you wanted, because you didn't need, a big fancy power supply. You didn't need a whole lot. You didn't need a huge power supply. if you're the kind of person who buys your computers, you know, from Dell or Hewlett Packard, or they were refurbished, they tended to be like my computer. They were refurbished office units. They were off lease. They were made to be small. They were made for like regular, you know, processing, you know, for librarians who are doing like light stuff, for word processing, for maybe like some very light, you know, video processing. You know, productivity. They weren't made for playing games or high level, you know, IT stuff. Like virtual machines and all that crap. Sometimes you don't need that stuff if you're at work or if you're at a nonprofit. You don't need all that extra. You don't need to waste a whole bunch of money on that. So you get these tiny little computers that are great for being terminals. They're great for being like little workstations. Like I said, you can, if you're at a college and you just need a computer that's fast enough to do like web browsing, it's like a glorified laptop. And it's extremely fast. You know, this dual core laptop that I have is a 3 gig Core 2 Duo. It's pretty beefy for its time. And like I said, I can play Rocket League on it. You know, I got a Radeon 240 card. It's entry level. It's like a $60 card. It's very entry level. It has DDR3 memory. That's how entry level it is. Back in the day, if you wanted to play video games, if you wanted to play like relatively modern games on a dual core computer with 2 gigabytes of RAM, you needed that Radeon 240, and it worked. I played nearly every game I bought ran on that thing. The games that don't run on that were like newer games, like any game that required a quad core processor. So I want to say games like, of course I can't open it, it's a demo. I want to say games like, how ugly is this game? It's my fault, I blame myself. What was that? Yeah, well, first of all, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, it wouldn't even start at all. I think the game required like a dual core or something. Far Cry 4 won't run at all on that computer. It needs 4 threads. So it needs hyper-threading. Basically, it needs 4 threads. So it needs either a dual core processor with a hyper-threading, or it needs, or it's going to need a quad core. And in my case, you know, these days, you know, you can buy Pentiums that have hyper-threading. You can buy a Pentium, what is it, a 4560, a G4560, something like that. And that thing's got hyper-threading. So you can get a $60 chip that will run games like, you know, Far Cry 4. Games like Crysis 3. Games that, I want to say Arkham Knight requires a quad-core processor. But, of course, a Pentium with some hyper-threading will do the job. If you crank down the settings to some ridiculously low resolution, like I'm going to end up doing. Eventually, once I buy the game, because for some reason I keep forgetting to buy the game when it's on sale. But I say, you know what, as soon as I get this game, I'm going to install it on every one of my desktops. And I'm going to reduce the settings to, like, super VGA. I'm going to run it at 800 by 600. It's going to be super VGA settings. I'm going to set everything to low. I'm going to turn off all the frippery. And I'm going to run that game. I'm going to see if I can get a frame rate in this that stays in the 60s. Because I bet I can get that game to stay at least in the 50s. The way I play and the settings I use for playing my games, I'm pretty sure I can get it to stay above 50. But of course, apparently on consoles, it's a rock solid 60, so that's probably why people are so upset. People get upset when their PCs don't outperform consoles. And unfortunately, based on the programming shenanigans they had to deal with, apparently Warner Brothers, they gave up. They say, you know what, we may never get it fixed. We may never be able to fix this thing. Oh, what? Oh, you mean a vertical hit to strike his head. Whoops. There we go. Okay, he swung and missed. So we'll bash him in the head. So I need to... I'm not, to be honest, I'm trying to think of a game that I need to run on this thing. Maybe Dragon's Dogma will run better. I'll do some testing with Dragon's Dogma before I do too much. So that means Dragon's Dogma, and a couple of... I have to test on Dragon's Dogma, because that's supposed to be a game that runs on dual cores. I doubt I'll be able to run Doom on it. I think that's just a lost cause on a dual core. With only 4 gigabytes of RAM, it's a lost cause. Fairly certain of that. And I guess the question is, what kind of performance do I want on a dual core desktop with only 4 gigabytes of RAM? I could probably get 60 on a Shadow of Mordor, because I think I'm able to get 30 in Shadow of Mordor pretty easily. I'll double check. Because the game ran pretty well on I got at least 30 FPS. So I think I got about 44 FPS playing Shadow of Mordor when it had only 2 gigabytes of RAM. Bam. What? But once I doubled the RAM to 4, I was able to run it on higher resolutions. So problem solved. And maybe with this new GPU, I'll be able to run it at 60. Not that it matters. I mean, a game like Mordor, I can play Mordor at 30. I'm fine with that. So the question is, I'm not trying to make my games look better. I'm just trying to run the games I have on older tech. I want to know. I don't know if it'll make a difference in terms of the capturing, because it's only a dual core with no hyper-threading. But I guess the question is, it's gonna look so ugly on the DVD recorder. I suppose the question is, he committed, didn't he? He's not dead by moving R and then attack. Oh, that. Okay. Right stick. Wait, he got me? I think he got me. Okay, now we got a group. This is going to be a problem. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. I can pick that up. X. Come on. Mush mush. He's not dead. I don't know his HP level, just so you know. Got him. Is he dead yet? Yeah, he's dead. Just making sure. Alright, so... what else am I thinking of? So yeah. So I definitely want to get a baseline status for Mordor. I already know that Tomb Raider runs on that thing pretty well. The 2014 Tomb Raider reboot, I'm pretty sure that runs pretty well. Shadow of Mordor. What's the most demanding game? I want to say Dragon's Dogma is a pretty demanding game. So I'll play that game a bit more on my dual core before I add the new processor, before I add the new GPU. I'll keep it around. I'm pretty sure, someone in my family is going to want something I can use that for. But I have a 730, but this is way better than a 730, so I'm sort of curious what games become available. But I already have a 250 in my quad core, so I'm probably... in fact, the 250 will not fit in my dual core. It's too small. But the quad core has a bigger case, so my 250 will definitely fit in there. So a 230 will fit in there. A 1030 will fit in there, so I'll probably end up doing that. And then I can put the 730 in the dual core, like I said I was going to do, but I never got around to it. But I may not even need it. But it's nice to have NVIDIA chips all over the place, because NVIDIA chips, they run better on, they run better on old hardware. On low-end hardware, anyway. I guess, apparently they just do, they do multi-threading better, so they run better on lower-end hardware like mine. So that might be something to consider. Like I said, I got a Radeon 250, and it runs great. Except for Doom, all my games run great on it. Of course, games are getting more demanding, so I'll put this on my quad core, see how it runs. Alright, so to conclude,